The village of Zondu lay in the valley of the Great Hills, surrounded by lush green fields and the dense, uncharted forest beyond the river. Life in Zondu was peaceful, yet one rule had remained unbroken for generations. No one must enter the Dagan Forest. The elders spoke of it in hushed voices. It was a place where the trees whispered secrets, where shadows moved without light, and where those who entered never returned the same. Some never returned at all. Yet, despite the warnings, there was always one who would not listen. Among the people of Zondu was Tahir, a boy of 16, full of pride and restlessness. Unlike the others, he was not afraid of the old stories. He had heard them all before, tales of spirits lurking in the trees, of voices calling from the shadows, but he did not believe in them. Tahir did not fear what he could not see. He often laughed at the elders' warnings. To him, they were just words meant to keep children in line. His best friend, Connie, often pleaded with him to respect the rules, but he would only shake his head. If the forest is so dangerous, he would say, then why has no one seen the spirits with their own eyes? So, when the other boys dared him to step into Dagan Forest, he did not hesitate. That night, under the pale glow of the moon, Tahir stood at the edge of the forbidden trees. The air was heavy, thick with silence. Even the insects that usually sang at night were quiet. The moment he took his first step across the boundary, a chill ran down his spine. But still, he went forward. The deeper he went, the stranger the forest became. The air smelled damp and heavy, like rain that had never dried. The trees loomed unnaturally tall, their trunks twisting in eerie shapes. Then, he heard it. A whisper.
Tahir.
At first, it was barely more than a breath in the wind. Then it grew clearer. He froze. His heart pounded against his ribs. He turned sharply, expecting to see one of his friends playing a trick on him. But behind him, there was nothing. Nothing but trees. The path he had taken only moments ago was gone. The trees had shifted, their trunks now blocking the way. The air around him grew dense. The whisper became laughter, low, mocking, and inhuman. Then he saw them. Eyes. Dozens of them, glowing from the shadows, blinking in unnatural unison. A deep growl rumbled through the air, low and hungry. Something moved. It was fast. Too fast to be human. Tahir turned to run. But the ground beneath him vanished. He fell. And the last thing he heard before the darkness swallowed him was his own name, whispered in a voice that was no longer his own. When the village woke the next morning, Tahir's mother was already weeping. Her son had not returned. The elders gathered in silence. They had seen this before. If he entered Dagan Forest, one of them said, he is lost to us. A search party was formed, but the men knew what they would find. Nothing. But just as the sun began to set, a figure emerged from the edge of the forest. It was Tahir. But something was wrong. His clothes were torn, his feet bare and covered in dirt. His face was blank, his eyes hollow. His mother ran to him, but he did not move. His body was there. But something else was inside. For days, Tahir did not speak. He did not eat, did not sleep. He sat in his hut, staring at the wall, motionless. Then, on the third night, just before the village fires burned out, he finally spoke. They are coming. But his voice was not his own. The elders called for the village seer, Malono, a man known for seeing beyond the veil of this world. Malono placed a trembling hand on the boy's forehead and immediately pulled away in horror. This is not Tahir. Fear spread through the village like fire. That night, as the wind howled through the trees, the people of Zondu heard it. The whispers had returned. Far beyond the village, deep in Dagan Forest, the shadows moved once more. They were waiting for the next to enter. The old storyteller, Baba Inja, sat before the fire, his voice low and heavy with warning. The children listened, their eyes wide with fear. The forest still waits, he murmured. The whispers have not faded. And if you listen too closely, on a quiet night, they may call your name next. A gust of wind rustled the trees. One of the children gasped. And far beyond the village, deep in the darkness, the whisper rose again. Another. The fire crackled. And the story ended.